In Texas, the foreclosure process is designed to move at a punishing speed. If you fall behind on your mortgage, you are immediately put on a rapidly expiring countdown. That's because Texas relies primarily on what is called a non-judicial foreclosure system. The bank does not have to file a lawsuit, take you to court, or have a judge sign off to take your home. Instead, everything is aimed at a rigid, inescapable deadline. Property auctions happen strictly on the first Tuesday of every single month, right on the county courthouse steps. This timeline illustrates the exact legal sequence you face. The clock officially starts when you miss a payment. However, federal rules state that your servicer cannot legally initiate the foreclosure process until your delinquency hits roughly 120 days. Once you cross that threshold, Texas law requires the bank to send a 20-day notice of default. This gives you a brief, strictly defined window to pay exactly what you owe to bring the loan current. If you can't cure the debt, they issue the final warning, a 21-day notice of sale. This triggers the final sprint straight to the next available first Tuesday auction. Because this system bypasses the courts, it removes the typical delays found in other states. In this aggressive timeline, any delay becomes a direct path to the auction block. Many homeowners find themselves caught in a confusing loop. They are actively trying to negotiate a deal with their servicer over the phone, but the threatening foreclosure letters keep arriving in the mail. Here is a critical reality check. Merely calling the bank, explaining your financial hardship, or sending in bits and pieces of paperwork does absolutely nothing to stop the foreclosure clock. You are experiencing a legal practice known as dual tracking. While the loss mitigation department politely reviews your file on one floor, the legal department on another floor is simultaneously and legally preparing to auction your home. Surviving this process requires a complete shift in mindset. You cannot treat this as an emotional plea for help. You have to treat it as a cold, highly organized compliance exercise. Good intentions and polite phone conversations will never stop a first Tuesday auction. Only strict adherence to specific federal rules can force the servicer to halt their legal machine. The only real shield you have against dual tracking comes from federal regulations enforced by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This decision tree shows how that shield works. To pause an auction, submit a complete loss mitigation application more than 37 days before your sale date. That means submitting Form 710, pay stubs, W-2s, a hardship letter, and full bank statements all at once. The definition of complete is aggressively strict. If your 2-month bank statement is 12 pages long and you forget to include a blank page 12, your application is legally incomplete. And if it is incomplete, you have no legal protection. The servicer is not required to pause the sale, and the legal department will keep moving towards the auction block. But if your submission is flawless and arrives before that 37-day cutoff, the rules flip. The servicer is now legally bound to halt the foreclosure process entirely while they evaluate your file. Once you send it in, the bank must acknowledge receipt within 5 business days, and they must explicitly tell you if anything is missing. If your file is deemed complete, they then have 30 days to evaluate your situation and either offer you a workout option or issue a formal denial detailing appeal rights. In this system, close enough is a failure. Absolute completeness is the only trigger that forces the bank to stop the clock.
Because the 37-day rule is so powerful, you have to build an undeniable, auditable paper trail to prove exactly when your application was received. Never use standard mail. Submit strictly via certified mail, a fax with a confirmation page, or directly through the online portal. When you start the process, demand a single point of contact, or SPOC. Having one designated representative prevents you from having to retell your story to a different agent every time you call. Keep a dedicated log of every single interaction. Write down the date, the time, the exact name of the representative you spoke with, and the call reference number. You must act as your own auditor. Assume the servicer will lose your paperwork unless you hold the documentation that forces them to acknowledge it. If your complete application forces a pause and you get approved for a workout option, you need to understand exactly what you are agreeing to. The solution requires compromises. One option is a forbearance. This provides a temporary pause or a reduction in your monthly payments while you get back on your feet. But the missed payments, the arrears, do not disappear. They must be addressed when the forbearance period ends. The other common option is a loan modification. This permanently alters your specific loan terms. The servicer might roll your missed payments into the total balance, adjust your interest rate, or extend the lifespan of the loan to make your monthly payment affordable again. Modifications usually require a trial payment plan. This is a strict 3-month probationary period. If you are even a single day late on making a trial payment, the entire modification agreement is completely voided. A successful modification saves your home, but it locks you into a strict new financial reality. By extending the term or rolling past due balances into the principal, you will often pay significantly more total interest over the life of your loan. This chart maps out your strategy. Deciding whether to handle this process yourself or get professional help comes down to 2 factors: your proximity to the auction date and your personal organizational bandwidth. If you are a proactive borrower, meaning you are more than 90 days out from a potential sale and have the time to organize heavily, you are in the safe zone. You have the runway to gather your documents, submit them yourself, and work directly with your SPOC. But if you are a late-stage borrower, less than 45 days away from an auction and already overwhelmed, trying to handle this yourself has a negative return on your time. You are too close to the 37-day cutoff to risk a single missing document. If you are in that high-risk zone, you need immediate professional intervention. Free HUD-approved housing counselors are available locally to audit your application and ensure it is flawless before the cutoff hits. Recognizing when you lack the time or the bandwidth to fight the servicer's bureaucracy alone is the most critical decision you can make right now. A quick warning: never pay upfront fees to a company promising a guaranteed loan modification. Those are almost universally scams targeting people who are out of time. Use free HUD-approved counselors. If you have already blown past the 37-day deadline and the auction is days away, filing for bankruptcy, like Chapter 13, is the absolute final legal lever available to legally halt the sale. The first Tuesday auction waits for no one. But if you strip the emotion out of the process and deliver a meticulously organized application, you have the legal power to stop it in its tracks.